Of that, Falcons over on the left-hand side by Hora. That's going to be an interesting one if they decide to land next to each other. Very curious where this next zone, or first zone I should say, is going to pop up, because that's going to tell the true story of what we can expect.
Ooh, I'm looking at Picardo right now. There's a lot of teams in the air over it right now.
Misal.
Could be difficult. Power definitely looking to try and drop there. I think Ida are going to go a little bit longer, as are Nongshim Red Force. Regnum Kaya disengaging from it as well. Down towards Puerto Paraíso, a little bit close by for DRX and Weibo, but they will chill out. So nobody getting too aggy right now. West Coast though, could be Falcons getting spotted.
Yeah, I'm thinking so. Falcons, Hora, well, they're relatively close to each other. Obviously trying to land on those vehicles so they can have them for rotates, maybe even overtaking high ground a little bit later on, but they do separate themselves. I always gets concerned when I start to see some split drops, and at least coming into this, I was expecting at least 3 split drops, which we do get a couple of them. The Falcons by far taking the cake, with Ralph all the way in the south, forced to go up north to join Narvalo and Koa, which he's going to be doing exactly that. Hora, though, not far behind necessarily. I'm curious if they decide to challenge the solo of Ralph, if they choose to get spicy.
I don't think this is a good idea. If Hora want to head up towards the north, I wouldn't be surprised to see them send all the way to a place like Cobraria, currently unoccupied. I think chasing down the solo, if they can get the shots, sure, but if Ralph can get over towards El Pozo as soon as he goes in, I don't think if you're Hora, you want to commit here, right? And the fact is that there's about 600, 700 meters between these two teams. I don't think that they're going to be able to catch this one. But I think heading up to La Cobraria on a circle like this is potentially a little bit better of a decision to make, right? In this scenario, you'll be up on that north side. You know not too many teams are going to be there. You'll be out early over towards that north side on a circle like this, and they're going to be able to find it. Okay, hang on a minute. Maybe they are going to try and clip the back of Falcons, but yeah, I don't rate the decision to chase this one down.
Right.
You don't want hot drops, right?
Right.
Sure, you might be able to pick up a point early.
Oh, they're close.
Narvalo actually, who's already had some looting time, might actually take some shots out.
He should.
This is why you don't want to pursue too far.
Oh, gets a little bit of damage onto Jiggle, but not enough to drop him. If Hora was wanting to pursue Falcons, I believe those shots ringing out is going to change their minds, and they'll continue to go up north. And for Falcons, they'll continue to distance themselves, go towards El Pozo, and loot up. So this fight most likely not going to happen anymore. Maybe Hora was thinking about it, but the shots were enough to deter them. Now we start to look more into the region. Nongshim Red Force, great spot central. We also have Alter Egos, who are set up quite nicely. They've got the 2-2 split, plenty of loot between them. And I think Alter Egos are due for a pretty decent game. I'm kind of feeling, I don't know, my sense are telling me Alter Egos, this is their game to take.
Now what's going to happen is Power are going to get a chicken dinner with 0 elim.
Oh, show 0 elim?
Yeah, anyone looking at the table would be like, oh, that's a normal amount. But no, it'd be the weirdest 10 to 30 split you've ever seen in your life.
That's right, that's right.
Goodness me. No, I'm not entirely sure, of course. There's 16 teams, 64 players who are in this one. However, Power are in a very central location on this, just out to the east of Hacienda del Patron, with Thunder Talk out to their further east as well. They're in a nice little compound and they can chill out for the time being. We're up to about 5 minutes now, which means looting phase should be over for a lot of the teams that hit ground early. So teams like Power, who dropped Picardo, they should be done and dusted. However, teams like Hora and Falcons, they're going to be out and looting for a little bit longer, maybe up to minute 6, 7 potentially, if Hora actually don't settle down.
Yeah, Hora they are moving and grooving. The good thing for them, the entire northern zone of this stage is wide open, including those hilltops that they can take over if they so decide. I do start to look towards Fireflux, however. Regnum Karia, E-Arena, Team Secret, relatively close, and DRX is getting very close to E-Arena, mind you. They are pushing straight in. You notice on your screen top left, there will be an E-Arena member. If DRX can keep their head on a swivel, they might start taking some shots, taking some damage.
Looks like they're going to keep things nice and linear. A nice spread out train. Good spacing for DRX on their rotate. Keep on the southeast flank. And of course, we always advise against all rotating in the same vehicle, especially early and especially on Miramar. Getting spotted out can be disastrous. So taking this 4-player convoy is exactly how you want to be operating. If you guys at home are trying to pick up some tips, that's a good one. Early on, playing split, you're very, very mobile. You're a little bit more flexible. That's what DRX are looking for as they head to the east of Minas Generalis up towards potentially where Alter Ego and Team Secret are playing.
And also for Fourth Thrives in the same path as Ida as they continue to move up north. As we take a look at Yangon Galacticus, a team that has been performing incredibly well, currently first place. Off the back of a third place game, number 4. They've been highly consistent, been waiting for this roster to truly show what they're made of. I think today has been the shining example of what we can expect Yangon Galacticus to truly be. They'll be rotating up north kind of in the same fashion that Horda did a little bit earlier, opposite of Falcons, most likely going above where Falcons are at. But I do have some concern if that is going to be the case, because there's not going to be a lot of areas they can truly park the bus, because Falcons and Horda are controlling that area, and there is an opportunity for Yangon Galacticus if they go a little bit too far north to get pincered between both of those rosters, so they have to play this carefully.
Fourth Thrives taking up position on the high ground. Fireflux, they've caught the arena, and that's 2 of them going down very, very quickly, and that's a 3rd as well. Oh no, this is nasty news for the team at the bottom of the tables as well. Oh dear, that's 2 players now remain for them. And this crash is going quite well for Fireflux to regroup on this spot. Turney K, Joker, that's another one sent on in, and Scarface handles business. This is what we've been waiting to see from Fireflux today. They were highly performant in the survival stages, and that is what we've been looking out for.
And Solus with M249 shooting the bodies. Fireflux has awoken from their slumber. 13th place no longer. They want to be up in the top 5 off the back of our last 2 games. Nice to see them finally getting active for E-Arena. Well, a team that was truly the shining examples throughout the survival stage, struggling tremendously, and even surprising the fact that they get their compound taken over, because one of the shining examples about E-Arena that I truly started becoming a much more fan of was their ability to hold down hardcover POIs. You could not break in. It didn't matter if there was 2 or 3 teams challenging their house. They were going to hold it down. In this case, though, they don't, and they fully get wiped, and Fireflux stays up nice and strong, and they've got a great spot in the current zone. Let's see what the next one holds.
Hey, you know what? E-Arena still have the moves. Have you seen those walkouts at the start of the day? I saw the moonwalk today, hitting them with the MJ.
Was it good?
Yeah, the mic was well. It was acceptable. It was certainly identifiable. Circle over to the east side here for phase 2. A lot of open ground to the east side of San Martin and Hacienda del Patron. Currently, the center of the circle still occupied by Alter Ego under quite a big spread. I imagine they're going to want to look to get back together here with DRX on the south flank, with Thunder Talk as well on a bit of a split, but a lot closer together. About 600 meters sits between both of their outposts here for Thunder Talk.
Well, same narrative for me for Yangon Galacticus. I was concerned maybe they would pincer themselves in between Falcons and Horda, but they do decide to stay on the outskirts of the zone. But even so, they're still going to have to deal with Falcons or Horda most likely once they start to come in. And now you add in 4 Thrives. You got 4 teams who could be contesting each other on the northern zone of the current stage. That's going to be a fight to watch out for without question. But for power, the high ground is in. Fireflux is very aware of this, but you got to appreciate the current power position from Power Esports.
Easy with the high ground over towards Ketch. I think they're both aware of each other's position here and just biding their time. Of course, these positions on these plateaus always look so powerful. The difficulty is as soon as you get knocked, or as soon as you take a challenge and maybe you get a little bit too bold, you go down. It's a massive mission to try and get you back up, right? You have to either send another player up there, or you have to drop down when you've already been knocked and someone has to rotate out towards you. It takes a lot of time, a lot of investment on that, so you do need to be very careful with those high ground positions.
Fireflux going to be opposite of them. Falcons continue to move up, managed to stay alive for quite some time. The only shots, the only activity we see from them so far was firing on Sleepy. Was on the back of a buggy. Sort of started to rotate up. Yangon Galacticus taking a huge rotate north. That most likely drops south. A lot more distance between them than I was expecting. I really thought they were going to be closely contested. You do have 4 Thrives with Naki and Co, who's going to be very, very close to the Falcons roster. They start to huddle up and potentially crash in on each other. For Weibo, they do have Team Secret in their line of sights, but this 4 Thrives Falcons fight, yeah, it's going down.
Koa diverts almost immediately, but will he be able to get away here? I'm not sure if the cover's going to be there. Just about escapes. Not unscathed, though, and that vehicle's going to be low, as is his health bar. Navallo just putting a little bit of suppression down. They will try and maintain the outskirts here on the northern. and they'll be okay for the time being.
Okay, for the time being, as you said, staying alive just a little bit longer. They kind of tempted fate, push into Fourth Thrives, take over the compound. Well, Fourth Thrives said, nah, it's just simply not going to work. Another zone shift is going to take place. You know, this YG, Jaeger Galacticus, still up in the north. They've been in blue now for, I want to say, nearly half of the game at this point, and they'll have to continue to drop down south, which is going to be right next to Falcons. So that fight most likely going to ensue. And with Falcons getting their health all the way back up, I think this is about to go down.
I think they might actually, well, it depends, yeah. If they go for that rotate out to the east, it might be a little bit less sort of considered there for Yangon Galacticos as Silas goes down on a little bowl ramp jump there. Too overexposed as DRX able to sweep that one away. So Regnum Kaya down to 3 players. That's not too favorable, but they are nice and central on the circle.
Yes, they are. Nice shot from Weibo. Weibo takes down Jiggle from Hora, who unfortunately loses a player. That was one who took early damage, and Weibo, not too far behind, is going to keep Hora in their line of sights. And well, this is a team that performed exceptionally well in game number 4, performing in second place, nearly taking over the Falcons' position. They couldn't hold it down. I was very impressed with No Fear, and I'm expecting him to be huge in this moment. Wild from Regnum Karya, trying to take down Alva from Alter Egos, who had plenty of great moments, but for Wild, well, he's going to fall a bit short.
Rosemary had the off angle, nothing really doing there. Regnum Kaya starting to falter. Meanwhile, over on that northern side, Falcons did find a player from Yangon Galacticos, and they will have Romeo almost on full surround now. They're putting this pressure on. Redox gets that flush. Hang on a minute, no, that's Koa taking the vehicle up in flames with it. The M249 for Koa. He's going to be able to lay down that damage. Nice and healthy output there for the Falcons, and they disengage. They don't need to overextend here, and it's nice to see.
But it's also for Yangon Galacticus. I mean, there's really nowhere they can go. Forward, you got Fourth Thrives waiting on you, and then if you go backwards, you got Falcons who are going to be gatekeeping you. You go down a little bit further, you got Noxium Red Force. It's going to be a tough spot for Yangon Galacticus, a team that stayed so long in the blue zone. I mentioned No Fear. Well, he's currently pinned up. Sky is just a sliver of health. Rosemary desperately trying to hit the shots. It does as Sky gets a bit antsy, jumping up to get additional vision. Well, it ends up being his undoing.
With that Mini 14 through the window just at the right time. Excellent pre-fire there from Rosemary. Alter Ego holding the high ground here. They have such powerful position over this next circle, and they want to try and maintain that space. They're doing well with 3 players on that north flank. They've got Krypton far out on the southeast side, and that's an off angle actually with shots over towards, actually potentially over towards Sleepy if he gets a little bit too big for his boots.
Rosemary repositioned. No Fear will stay down low. No reason to get too crazy on him. The smokes are out. Rosemary will continue to keep his head down. APG Team Secret start to get active. Dog with the off-angle, unfortunately, is down. He's going to have no effect in this fight unless Zeok can get over and maybe get him back onto his feet. Reapus, nade in hand, throws it out. That looks like a nice cook and a great connection.
Doc is down, but the rest of APG can keep on going. Rotate around, try and slip this one. Around the edge there they go, and actually Doc could be resable here. Close to Fireflux though, and that will be in a lot of danger for this Res. Will be very, very difficult to make it work. In the meantime, Team Secret actually getting handled across the way from Fireflux themselves. Shots overhead.
Fireflux been performing well. They're trying to go up the standings. This is their game to take. They started off hot and heavy. They currently sit at 6 eliminations. All 4 members still alive. Now Catch, I hope he's not spreading himself a bit too thin, separating himself from the additional rosters, everybody else in a vehicle. So that'll be my concern. But for No Fear and Rosemary, well, No Fear tried to stay up as long as he could, but the shed, unfortunately, will be his demise.
Sook actually using the explosive arrows there, taking one of those knocks over towards Hodder. He's going to be happy with that one, but Weibo currently out on that east side, have a little bit further to go here. That east side approach is really, really weird and finicky. They've got that long channel of road for Weibo to roll along on that northern side of the current circle. It spits you out with very little info, which means that they kind of need to head down south and try and put pressure on that way to approach towards Alter Ego, but that's really, really difficult in its own right? You've got Alter Ego who've been holding. We've seen how effective they are in that location. I don't think that Weibo are going to be able to get too much further here.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And mind you, Falcons has also kind of got into their vicinity. Falcons have been the outskirt team, consistently gunning down players, not overcommitting, but at least having a presence, keeping them in the back of their minds are their enemies. And well, we see Suke, as you said, from Sleepy from a distance.
Wait,
and I know Seven is loving that one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I wonder if it was that the straight shot or the explosion that got him though. I have to double check. We'll get the analysts on that one, breaking down the clip. That was kind of nuts though. You'd love to see it. Sook seems to be, you know, this proponent of
Legolas
of the bow and arrow. He loves it.
Yeah,
he loves it.
You know, it's funny, when I was doing my research coming into this, Seven specifically brought him up and said explosive arrows. Watch him with the bow. Let's watch order now as they go for the challenge onto Falcons. Rosemary has him pinned in between, and Rosemary is a guy I do not want on my backside. He is truly devastating. We've witnessed it just a little bit earlier on Horda Esports. Now he can do it on Falcons, but Order cooking the nade, throws it out. Is it good? Well, a little bit of damage on Narvalo. Redux will answer back with his own, but it doesn't have an area effect. And Redux is very weak. Order is taking on two members from Falcons and doing it in sensational fashion.
They have that back flank as well from Rosemary. Anita is feet, and Ralph and Redux both fall, one after the other. The forward position and the middle spot for the Falcons both going down, and it looks like Weibo are actually going to be able to break through this one. With Narvalo falling, there's only one player now left standing, and Sook is on the hunt.
And I wonder if APG starts to get active in this fight too, because Doc is getting dangerously close. There's Order from a distance, trying to take down Avila, but can't do it. He backs away for the meantime. Still a chance Falcons can maybe recover with the duo in this moment, but the pressure from Weibo is unrelenting. Koa, the tip of the spear, to try and maybe get a couple of shots on the Order. Again, you can't really go back because you got Alter Egos, who's going to be just behind you with Alva. You also got Weibo starting to push in, and the attack is true, but Order will fall. Sook jumps out. Koa's going to be down. Can Sook pull off the hat trick?
It's Narvalo up against them. He can clutch these. We've seen it before. And Weibo are low. It's just Sook. And around the edge with a scar goes for the spray down, but the heel is there. And Narvalo now at a disadvantage.
Oh!
Takes the corner, takes the fight. And once more, Narvalo survives out in the edge of the zone, eliminating Weibo.
All right, the question is, can he get his teammate back into the fight? Where is his downed mate? Is it just behind him? You'd have to think so, and there it is. That's going to be Koa. Getting Koa back in this fight would be huge. Meanwhile, APG starts to move in. Koa's been finished, and Narvalo, once again, has to take on the entirety of another roster. This time, a 1v4. Reefus with that off angle. I think this is probably going to be the end. Plus, you got Alva, who's going to be looking dead at you. Narvalo in dire straits. If he can somehow, some way survive and get into zone, it would be miraculous.
Spray down. Narvalo slams it into reverse, trying to pull a quick J-slide there, but actually it's APG who might have given him a lifeline. He's actually down and into the road gully.
And he's dipping, he's dodging, he's swerving and moving. He's going up top to get that member of Avila. Can't get the finish, and that's going to be okay. A valiant effort. I felt Falcons from the start to the finish never really truly had a home, never truly had a legitimate route to stay safe. They were putting a lot of pressure on teams, but they were never able to establish themselves in a specific area and play for late game. That's just the way it goes. Miraculously, though, Yangon Galacticus is doing quite well. I expected him to be eliminated a little bit earlier on, but for APG, Alter Egos, let's see how this fight ends up unfolding. Alter Egos got to do it as a duo.
Moana and Krypton will have to play off one another. The circle kind of shifted away from them right now. DRX are in the center. They're by that roadside. They've got a lot of pressure outwards. Not too many threats to be sent their way. Fireflux, they're kind of on a linear approach from the south side. Whilst they have all four players alive, they've managed to rack up 7 elims, sure, but they are right with their backs to the blue zone, and power marauding around them as well.
Jeez. Yo, Top, go off, my boy. That's 2 down from Thunder Talk. Outputting the damage tremendously. I say 2 down, 1 manages to get out with his life, but just with a sliver of hell. Jing down low. I don't know if it's going to happen. Reefus, this might be a nice nade. It's cooked well. It's thrown out. Doc just below, and he'll take off a sliver of health. Not much, but keeps the pressure on Zing. You know he doesn't feel comfortable in this moment. And for APG, on a tear. They're only on 4 eliminations, but at this rate, I don't know where they're going to end up.
A little bit more damage sent over to him, but the first aid was already ticking up. He will be healed. This is the regroup coming on through. A nice drop on the smoke there. That should go for the weapon spot, but the ammo's already low, but they get it. Nonetheless, over the driver as well. Sitting will be taken down, and now Sing continues to be under pressure. However, they can't breach this high ground just yet. With Ida over the way, there's so much going on in this northeast quadrant.
APG holding on tight. Mind you, still 4 strong. You mentioned Ida, they're going to be just up ahead, and they look to be progressing forward just a bit more. So for APG, it's imperative that they focus the fights correctly. And Aaron, most likely going to be the first one targeted as Yale starts to move up towards that rock. Reefus down low, still trying to keep Thunder Talk in check on the low ground. I love where APG is currently at, and I have to favor them in this fight. But again, if they don't do this properly, Ida is going to eat them alive.
Darkin with the nade pulled over towards APG. Thinks better of it. Waiting for someone to give some information away. There's all 4 players alive on the northeast side. They continue their march here for Alpha Gaming. We have been hoping for more from this roster. The names they've got have some prestige, and Reefus looks to start to pick up the pace here, but backed off the angle. They'll have to take another crack.
5 eliminations for APG. This could be a first place game. They could take the first place position. Alter Egos are already out. They're going to lose it. Yangon Galacticus most likely has already passed them up. Scarface on your screen. Now Fireflux, again, a tremendous game. Nearly double digits already. 4 members still alive. They started early, and they have refused to slow down. They now start to challenge APG, but Reefus, he's deadly. That man has been hitting shot after shot, and 1 member from Fireflux is now down.
Zyol able to find Madcap. A nade over towards Zyol's position, and top is the trade-off here. Scarface forwards, does a lot of work against them, but will not win that trade. Gonna get flushed as well, almost certainly there. And have to fight on as 3 for Fireflux, but hang on a minute, no, because Madcap's down.
That's right.
He's all the way out on the flank. I think that res is coming through, though.
To see, catch the distance, trying to keep APG at bay. Meanwhile, Ida has been there, but not really. You know, could they have taken advantage of this third party? Maybe, but they're well within zone. So the question is, really, can Thunder Talk even start to break in? APG, once this fight does end up concluding, if it does against Fireflux, who have managed to recover. You mentioned those revives. Well, now they're going to be a 4-man unit. And I like their chances a lot better in the moment. APG starts to regroup.
Like Fireflux might be able to keep all 4 of their players alive as well. So 2 full force squads on the eastern side. Something also monumental could be happening. It's brewing, it's bubbling under right now. But Power Esports could be on their way to their first placement point. We've got 10 teams remaining. 2 more need to drop.
That is true. But of course, they are at 0 eliminations. Winner, chicken dinner with 0 elims to keep the narrative alive. Let's find out. Well, this is the first time we've seen them really get active this game as they tried to take over the high ground over Fireflux. We've watched Fireflux and APG go toe-to-toe with each other. Fireflux looked to be on their wits' end, but they managed to get their teammates back up. And in fact, this secondary fight looks great. Scarface, let's do it, boy. Continue to push up. Get the downs while 1 comes in, but he's going to be traded out. Madcap, though. He's truly devastating, but APG answers back, but only for a matter of time before Catch says enough is enough. We're done fighting you. We're the winners.
Everybody turned to pulp on this northeast side of Verdan. Wants more points here with 9 teams remaining. If Fireflux go down now, Power will have earned their first placement point. It's only a matter of time. And a big nade from Ida to close it out. And that is a guaranteed placement point for Power. They're off the mark.
Darkin throws a beautiful nade, gets 3 from Fireflux and takes them out instantaneously. And now you got Power, who have been setting up quite nicely to gatekeep the winner from that engagement. In this case, happens to be Ida Esports, who now is focused on Thunder Talk, who stayed alive miraculously as a duo on the low ground. They took heavy losses, but they're giving it right back.
They stayed out of the fight for the time being, but now they want to try and wade back on in. King steps a little bit too close to the fire and does get burned, hits the deck just in time to avoid the spray down. And Thunder Talk keep the pressure on with Darkin falling. That's going to slow Ida down. Going to have to force that res out. Darkin not really in a safe spot with the blue zone pushing in 15 seconds. Not a lot of time to operate here.
Aaron thought about it. Do I go for the res? Do I go for the challenge? Well, Jing throws a nay. This could be 2, and it's close enough. Aaron takes some damage. Another one starts to go in, but it's going to be a little bit too far. And now for Aaron, really the last hope for Ida. Potentially another one to I don't know, output some damage, but all eyes on Aaron in the moment. It is amazing. Thunder Talk has put up this much of a fight. They're towards the bottom. They desperately need points to elevate themselves towards the top 5 running, but 4 eliminations, their best game we have seen so far, and it could get even better.
Looks like Aaron will go down last. And Ida, very down on their luck. Now it's just Emre who was across the way, disengaged from that fight for the longest time. Finally, one of the power players gets taken away from this, and Easy on the forefront will need a little bit of a rescue mission from the rest of the team. Not going to be easy, and actually it's Ragnar who gets caught on the sidelines. So Easy able to find that shot, and DRX now starting to come alive here. They've been in this compound for the longest time, and they want to try and inflict pain now onto the rest of the circle, but El Hadji is still on the hunt.
Yes, he is. For Ragnar's sake, though, I think he tried to get a little bit too fancy on the off angle, and it ended up being his undoing. And, well, he loses his life in the meantime. For Power, though, they look great. DRX is the only team, though, who is left alive with 4 members. But Power's positioning is great. They're hitting wonderful shots, but you gotta appreciate DRX. Able to utilize this low ground, this little divot. They're going to be devastating. Power, it's going to be hard to knock DRX off of this spot.
Yangon Galacticos as well on that northern side. Going to be difficult to navigate there. You've got solos on every single side of the circle, and right now the most dangerous one is probably Loxy on that southwest edge for Regnum Karya.
I would say so. Loxy could be devastating. Say Cloud, though, hits a nice shot, and that's going to be 2 from Power, dropping off, and the chances of making it to top 3 to the podium now ends. But as you said it best, they do get some placement points, so there is a positive for Emery. He tried his best to stay alive, but DRX takes him out without any drama whatsoever. We're now down to our top 3.
Okay, this should be a free win for DRX right now. They've been able to hold this compound for so long. It's 2 solos, and neither of the solos are in this next circle. They've got control of the hillside. They're in overexposed positions. So Easy goes down, and that is going to be a nice pickup, actually. Hang on a minute.
Very nice.
I said it should be a free win. Hang on a minute. We're just getting word that I lied. I lied to you.
Well, let's see what ends up happening. The pickup might be able to come through. We mentioned Loxy as well, right, from Regnum Karya. He's going to be potentially devastating. And both players, right, from Yangon Galacticus as well as Loxy from Regnum Karya, they're going to be pincering in this DRX roster. Looks to be a beautiful nade. I believe it does connect just a little bit. Here comes DRX. Now, I don't want them to get too aggressive here. They now have 2 players down low, and overexposing yourself to Say Cloud might be a reason why these solos could take a win.
Say Cloud has a brilliant sideswipe here, right? You can see that ridge line that rolls down the hill away from Hyunbin. That is what Say Cloud is playing on. So Hyunbin flexing down this way. I really like this idea. Loxy should be taken care of by the blue zone. That will just sort of conclude itself here.
Yep.
And Say Cloud, sure, he might have the sideline swipe, but the center of the circle is still under control for DRX. And they do manage to keep things together, right? It's not going to get too spicy out here in the open, and he will fall down. DRX closes down. A little bit quiet on that one, but points are points are points, and they will take those 10 placements, add them to their tally, and they'll be up there with the best of them at the top of the table.
Without a doubt, DRX, just like Power's been eliminating, right, and getting all their elimination points, basically securing top 5 just off of that. DRX has done a phenomenal job in the placings. 4th place in game number 1, 10th place in 2nd. They fall down a little bit, but 2nd place in 3rd, or the 4th game, I should say, and then 3rd place in the 5th, and then, of course, 1st place coming out right before your eyes. Beautiful job from DRX, highly consistent in the podium category. That's going to be incredibly valuable when we get to Smash Point on day number 3. DRX, so strong, so powerful, and finally able to get a win.
That was 4th in the 1st, 3rd in the 3rd, and 2nd in the 4th, and a 1st in the 5th there for coming through from DRX. Hope you guys are following that. We certainly were here in the booth, but we are going to head to a quick break whilst we get ready for our final Miramar of the day. Don't go anywhere.
बिरसी होला न समझिए एकै बेस सम्झनाको बोझ मरेर खेलानु हाँसो रितिए आँसुको के दोष सपना सबै एकछिनमै बिउजिए म मरे पनि तिमीलाई खुसी दिन चाहन्छु मरिजाऊ कसम मेरो भाग्यमा रहेनौ तिमी खुसी नै छु म तिम्रो खुसीमा जल्दा पनि पोलेन बरु जति पोले थियो तिमीले छोड्दा म बल्दा पनि म मरे पनि तिमीलाई खुसी दिन चाहन्छु मरिजाऊ कसम मेरो भाग्यमा रहेनौ तिमी खुसी नै तिम्रो खुसीमा खुसी दिन चाहन्छु मरिजाऊ कसम मेरो भाग्यमा रहेनौ तिमी खुसी नै छु म तिम्रो खुसीमा दिउँ लामो तिम्रै थिए सधैँ तिम्रै रहूँ लामो घाम हुँदा छाया भएर सँगै बाँचे सँगै मरुला मनमा लेखिएको नाम तिमी भारियो मुटुको आराम तिमी रातको अन्तिम सोच मेरो बिहानीको पहिलो सम्झना तिमी तिमी आँटिदिनु त्यो आँटो बनु लामो सँगै बाँचे सँगै मरु लामो बादल वरिपरि पछि लाग्नेछु बाडुकी बनेर पछाउनेछु हावा सरिएपछि बेरेरै मेरा मायाहरूले ढाकेर सम्झना बनी साथ दिनेछु म छाया बनी आउला जहाँ गए पनि मेरा यादहरू म गाडी हेरिरहला
on the lobby. The plane path from Puerto Paraiso up towards El Pozo, a lot kinder than the first time around Miramar today. That was a heavy south plane cut, and this time around, it's going to be a little bit more relaxed for our teams to getting on their way. So potentially no hot drop, or at least no pursuit over towards the Falcons on this one for El Pozo.
Well, we'll find out, right? Falcons did have quite a few teams around them, and it was Hora and Falcons who ended up kind of, you know, tussling with each other, but we'll see if that ends up happening this time around. And let's not forget Yangon Galacticus also coming up behind them. It was kind of contested towards El Pozo. Might see the same thing here as, well, Smile tends to drop out, and I think he's going to take over that southern portion. It took a little bit of time before they finally ended up in contention with Hora as well as Falcons up there towards El Pozo. But it's the mad dash for the vehicles, and that's where you start seeing the heavy points of contention, especially between Hora and Falcons, who are very close to each other already as they glide through the air.
North side circle pops as the plane exits our screen, Tokyo Drift style, hitting the 45 degrees, as we are going to be heading up again to a more northern area. So this time it's going to be a little bit more west than we had last time around. La Cobreria, Crater Fields, that area around water treatment, all of those hills will be in play. Teams are going to have to figure out how to make their way north, not least of which is DRX, who are the most south team right now over towards Puerto Paraiso. Hopefully they can find another podium, because they've already got 4 of them. Why not get another?
Why not? Get another one. 4 out of the 6. That would be huge for them. And again, Smash Point, day 3. We look at DRX to potentially be the ones to close it out if they could be number 1 setting the point threshold. For DRX, this is going to be a tough going for them. They've got to go all the way up north, as you said. That means passing Team Secret, potentially Alter Egos. You got E-Arena, maybe running into Thunder Talk, Fireflux. They might take a long rotate towards the shoreline and go all the way up towards north. That might be their best line of attack. For Hora, well, they go a bit more north this time around than they did last time, because you remember they were south of Falcons, ended up pursuing them into El Pozo. This time, Hora change up their landing spot, and they're going to be just above them, which is going to be great for them. So much real estate that they can utilize, and Hora need a good game here. They're, again, towards the bottom, but setting themselves up nicely for day 2 would be a tremendous win on game 6, and the possibility is here.
Yangon Galacticos gathering vehicles, getting a little bit of loot on board. They've still yet to fully go for this loot phase. They're going to head south down towards Valle de Mar and play this one in a little bit later on. They love seeing the blue zone, right? They
Yes, they do.
absolutely love it. The Yangon Galacticos, as soon as they see that blue zone coming, they're heading straight towards it. So they will be very chill about surviving out in this area. A likely west road rotate, so expect to see them heading up towards La Cobreria around minute 8. I think that's where we'll see them up towards that north side. So potential conflict with Hora and Falcons on the west edge.
That's right, and I think that's going to be a pretty big narrative throughout not only today in our game number 6, but going into day 2 and day 3 of our grand finals. I am excited to watch APG potentially clash with Regnum Caria. 2 aggressive rosters, and with the way APG was challenging fights in our previous game of Map 5 Miramar, got me excited for the prospect of what their aggression is going to hold in this final game, game number 6. They're going to have to go up north. Regnum Caria might choose to gatekeep them. And let's not forget 4 Thrives. I know I haven't seen too much from them today, but another roster that showed incredible aggression and good ability to hold and control fights during the group play stages. They're also going to be in that vicinity. So APG, Regnum Caria, 4 Thrives potentially clashing maybe a little bit later.
Have to wait and see what their path will hold for them. Looks like Regnum Karya on the road faster than APG, and it might be 4 Thrives that does in fact come into conflict with them. But as always, it's a question of which path they take towards this circle. Fighting this early, you don't really want to get stuck down in it, right? You don't want to get bogged down early. Going down within that first phase is really detrimental to your overall tournament performances, and I wouldn't be too surprised to see them wait their turn, right, in this scenario. Wait for teams to push it behind them and get a little bit more drawn back, I think it's safe to say, from those engagements. I'm looking around the map right now. I'm seeing DRX leaving Puerto Paraiso. They've headed up past Impala on the east side right now, and they are trying to slot themselves in over towards El Azahar, potentially all the way up towards Cruz del Valle, and we'll see if they can make their way on up to the podium once more. There's not too many teams are going to contest them on that.
Yeah, no surprise, DRX, that was their safest rotation. That's exactly what they ended up doing, going across that shoreline and going up most likely towards the north above. Maybe Alter Egos, maybe even a little bit further on towards maybe the northern portion of where Weibo is currently at. For 4 Thrives, full send it straight in. They're going to be very close to Noxian Red Force. In fact, Benny already throwing out some nades, and Naki's taking damage.
Naki does answer, though, with a nade of his own. Unfortunately, it's in through the window, and he's up on the high ground there. A nade up high, and they do think he's on the inside of this one. Benny could potentially catch them unawares. The Molotov, they think they're burning him out of position, but he's got IQ on lockdown right now. Steps up but misses. Now they'll know he's up on high. Naki now with a chance to turn things around, but more nades are cooking.
Oh,
this is the last one in the pocket from Beanie, and IQ has to dodge it. Will be able to survive. XZY on the off angle. Doesn't quite connect on it either. To Noxian Red Force, not really getting too much with the opening salvo. That one's good, though, and a chance now for Noxian to take this into control.
T24 on the ground alongside that of Phallic. You've got to appreciate the high ground from Benny. He's not going to relinquish that. He's going to be truly the linchpin into success, at least I assume, in this fight, in this engagement. IQ's down and out. No way he's going to get back up, and in fact, he's going to be fully finished off. 4 Thrives, the one good thing they do have going for them is they have Wolfpack together. So any players from Noxian Red Force, if they push it as a solo, you'd have to assume you're going to be shot by 3 people at the same exact time. T24 Phallic gotta hold the low ground, though. XCY pushing in. Tizzy starting to also get active. T24 takes some damage. In fact, outputs some damage onto Tizzy. Doc going in. T24 down. Benny drops out from his high ground, takes a little bit of damage, but through the smoke, hits the shot needed to drop Naki. 4 Thrives are out.
Once more, 4 Thrives fall, and Noxian Red Force keeping all 4 of their players alive there. It got a little bit hairy with T24 doing so much work on the low ground, but they do manage to survive as 4, which is huge news from them. In the meantime, Alter Ego losing a player. Team Secret able to take control of the compound here to the west of Cruz del Valle on the north side of that circle. Potential conflict for them with DRX in the next few minutes, but for now, Alter Ego busted down to 3.
Alter Egos, a good day today so far.
Ooh.
Love to finish off with the 3 stack. Performing well, Wild hitting great shots. Fireflux, who had a tremendous game number 5. Looking to do a little bit of a better job here. Regnum Karya also up ahead. You notice every single team minus APG has just directly sent it straight into the center of the zone. They want those buildings. They want the hard cover. And that's why 4 Thrives was so antsy to get in and challenge Noxian Red Force. It doesn't pay off, but you get the idea. So Regnum Karya, Fireflux now, they want to take over this spot if they can get it, but it's not going to be easy.
Over in San Martin, they're going to have to fight for their way out here. Circle coming on in very, very soon. Alter Ego actually potentially under threat now for DRX. I said around minute 8 for Yangon Galacticos. That has now passed.
Look at that.
But a hard northeast shift. They're going to have to go a long, long way. I don't think they're going to see this circle until about minute 10. This could actually start to get a bit hairy on the west side for Yangon Galacticos. They might need to cut an earlier rotation, maybe potentially through Montenuevo, unless they want to get really, really down to the wire with this one. It's not looking super healthy. DRX, they suffer the most on the northeast side. They try pushing past Alter Ego. It's gone poorly.
I was hoping Fireflux would take advantage of the zone shift and get ahead of Regnum Karya, who managed to get a knock onto one of the Fireflux members. Naturally, they're going to be back up. But Regnum Karya, head on a swivel, decides to full send it in, staying ahead of Fireflux, making sure that if engagement does happen, they're going to be the tip of the spears in that fight. Thundertalk King's going to knock down one from Alter Egos. Moana is going to fall, leaving Alter Egos with just 1.
Both of those 2 teams on the northeast side have dropped players Two are remaining for DRX, as they do manage to get through, but they're only playing as a duo. Alter Ego try and move in as well, but all under the watchful eyes of Thunder Talk, who have only been able to extract 2 points from it, but they've opened up the east side nicely for themselves to stay alive for a lot longer. E-Arena to their south shouldn't pose too much of a worry for them. The hillsides will keep them safe. Take a look at the replay. Okay. Spin out in the open, catches the rear tire, a nice little pickup for Alva.
And Alva will be the last one alive for Alter Ego. So if he can pull off shots like that, even as a solo, he could be truly devastating to the complete rosters who are 3 and 4 stacks outside of DRX, right? Everybody else has 3 or 4 members. Falcons does have a down player, and I don't know if it was due to, well, actually it might be because of Hora, who is starting to move in. Hora and Falcons, even off the start of the last game, and then of course going into this game, you knew they were going to have a clash at some point. At a certain moment, Falcons or Hora have to put their foot down and establish dominance over this engagement and rotation to force a change for the other roster. Team Secret also moving in.
Nade over the top, this could be good. Onto Ralph, does manage to blast him out of the buggy. Redox hopping in, repositioning it, getting a little bit more cover down the hill. They've dropped a smoke almost immediately, and the Falcons scrambling to pick this one back up. I don't think they're going to be able to commit to get Ralph back. There's too many off angles to contend with. Redox in the front of the buggy. His teammates keeping him safe though. An over-aggressive push from Team Secret drops them a player, but again, it's those off angles coming on in, and it's Sleepy to catch Redox sleeping.
Yeah, Sleepy has been a nuisance. A nuisance from a distance. Zera's caught out in the open. Sky takes him out. Hora potentially profiting off of this third party in a big way. They're already at 2 eliminations. They continue to push up to pressure and potentially get the full finishes on Team Secret.
Where are Yangon Galacticos? They should be in this fight right now.
In the blue zone.
Going up and towards the 12th minute, and they have yet to enter this circle. It's going to get a little bit too hard to overheal this one, and again, they're on the far side of things. You can see them all the way out onto the west, and they could really have an impact here if they crash into the back of Hora.
Team Falcons just trying to stay alive. Just a duo. They're out of there. Koa, Narvalo managed to find a little bit of respite in the hard cover. But meanwhile, for Hora and Team Secret, Hora has done so much damage on the Team Secret roster that you have to favor them in this moment. And while they continue to push up, they refuse to bow the knee. And for Drake, he's going to go ahead and join Frankie up ahead as Team Secret start to recover just a little bit, but only just.
Unwedging the vehicle there, it looks like. They will keep themselves nice and mobile. Team Secret on the northwest side. Hora going to try and push on through. Weibo, with all 4 players alive, playing on the southwest side right now. East edge of water treatment as well. A nice ridgeline under control. Power, they're a little bit more central. They are under the watchful eyes of Weibo, but they don't have to move. They will be able to chill out for the time being. We know how much they like to get stuck in though, so maybe things could get a little bit hot.
Well, I just love the fact that they're as central as they are. So the next stage most likely still going to favor that of Power, which is going to be interesting because Yangon Galacticos finally get out of the blue zone after, what, the 14th minute, start to move in towards water treatment. You got Fireflux, Weibo, who's still in the area. You've got plenty of teams. Power might potentially be able to gatekeep. This might be a tremendous game for Power depending on how they choose to play it.
My eyes are on E-Arena right now, and so is the camera, luckily, because they have severely underperformed expectations.
Without a doubt.
Coming through from the survival stages, they were looking good, they were looking powerful. I mean, obviously, you've got a couple of standout players. I think Mormon is probably a very notable player on the roster of E-Arena. They have been in disarray so far today. So to close out day 1 with a strong game, I think would be necessary for them to even be in the conversation for the front page, potentially.
I agree, yeah.
At this stage, though, they are going to have to hold their nerve against IDA, against APG, against Nongshim Red Force. I think they've got the chops, but the question is, can they deliver today when they've been so weak up until now?
APG's getting dangerously close to E-Arena. They're fully committing for this fight. They can back off if they want to, but you got to fight this quickly. And E-Arena, as they reposition, go straight into a couple from IDA. Like you mentioned, Nongshim Red Force is going to be coming in from the south portion, still in blue, but eventually they will be up in this fight as well. So if you're APG, you don't want to get pincered between not only Nongshim Red Force, but also E-Arena. If you're E-Arena, you're still in a decent spot. Stay ahead of your competition so you can gatekeep them.
take a look at the circle yet again. It's going to come through very, very quickly. Last player for Alter Ego, rotating out to the east, trying to move away as a solo. The circle comes on through, and it's very central. It's the teams on the outside that are going to get cut through here. Yangon Galacticos, I think, have one of the most difficult maneuvers to make. They are sitting currently around water treatment, trying to push past Weibo, who are giving ground. They're regrouping on the southwest, to be fair to them. So maybe a little opening for Yangon Galacticos to push on up. In the meantime, back over towards the arena, they are managing to do a little bit of damage.
APG starts to get active onto Noxium Red Force, a team that was in blue for a long time. Not as long as Yangon Galacticos, but still a long time nonetheless. They finally get into the zone, straight into the damage of Reefus, who is mowing down players and can't get the full finishes, but at least taking those valuable hills away from the team of Noxium Red Force. I did notice Power started to fire some shots, I believe, on Weibo, just up ahead as well. So a lot of fights going down. APG, in my opinion, has the advantage of Noxium Red Force, who has to continually push up, and Reefus is unrelenting with the shots.
Yeah, they've got the high ground on them. It's going to be a question of getting picks, but they're just not being found. And Noxium Red Force are starting to fall. They're starting to wane on the east side. Fireflux getting involved on this flank. It's mad dashes now. There's really nothing you can do. You just have to try and sneak your way through, find a little window of something, but it's so difficult to make it work. Doc's up into the building, but I don't think that's going to last too long. They have him on the ground floor. They've got him locked in. And APG can keep this one going. I think the biggest question mark in this spot is what a Fireflux going to do.
Yes, absolutely. Fireflux has already managed to get a couple of downs on Noxium Red Force, but E-Arena has also backed up. On board with Doc. Doc holds his ground from Noxium Red Force. They're not done just yet. You still have, I believe, one more player remaining, but very low health. And in fact, he's going to be finished off. Now, Terry, he's down. You mentioned what would Fireflux do? Well, they choose to challenge the forward members of E-Arena, who pushed out of their hard cover, mind you, getting overly aggressive and now getting potentially punished.
Fireflux, pretty nasty with the nades. The ordnance is on point, and on the south side, they are opening the door to push on in. Maybe even move through their reses as well. They've got Solus down. I think that's already getting picked back on up. And E-Arena, they're blasted down to 2. No elims on this fight. They had a hold onto a 3-way engagement, and they have not got any value for it. It's not looking good.
I just don't understand why they felt the need to send 2 players forward. Maybe they were expecting to have a bit more of an off angle with the third party, but Fireflux is ready for them and gunned them down. Good utility on the nades as well. E-Arena, in my opinion, waste a tremendous opportunity. They had the setup. They're well within the zone. Fireflux, APG, once these fights conclude, are pushing directly into you. There was no reason to send 2 players up ahead, but they did it anyways. And now Joker and Mormon have to go at it alone.
After a big elim game last time around, Fireflux looking to try and convert. They've already posted 6. Sure, they've lost a player, but they will be able to march on forwards. You'd imagine that they're going to try and crash onto the E-Arena position, or maybe not crash, but walk up to at least. However, as 3 players, that's going to be a lot harder than it would have been as 4. APG do have the numbers, but they are trapped on the far side of the road. It's going to be a lot harder for them to get across unscathed.
And I do wonder about Order, who's kind of being a little bit weird, hanging out off in the distance. You know, a couple of shots could put a team in disarray. Sleepy challenging that of Team Secret. Hora and Team Secret have been opposite of each other for quite some time. They've managed to get a lot of damage and even at times a couple of knocks, but they both managed to get back up, and they're going to be both 4 stacks challenging each other straight ahead. For Yangon Galacticos, 2 members that might be able to fire onto Jaiki depending, but for Xeris, well, he's going to be up ahead looking to take down Hora. Let's see who wins the engagement.
Team Secret committing up towards Hora as they rotate away from the outpost of Yangon Galacticos. 4 positions for Team Secret, not quite getting the angles just yet. Thunder Talker up in the distance as well. Could be a little bit of crunch on towards Hora. Romeo's been spotted, no fear. Able to tap him away, back him off the angle. I think Thunder Talk want to get involved here. They are starting to flex their muscles, and they do need to leave.
Still have Alva as a solo. Not going to have an effect as of yet, but Alva, he's been devastating. We witnessed him take down 2 members, I believe, of another roster just a little bit earlier, but now he's going to be going dead center. So he won't have an impact here, but you're right, for Thunder Talk. Now Hora is pincered. Team Secret on one end, on the other is Thunder Talk. Hora in dire straits, and they have to make a choice. Who to end up going for it? They've got to finish them quickly because they have to expect the team behind them to push up.
As the shots coming through from the off angle, over the way, Team Secret making things hard, but Jakey actually gets spotted and pinked out by No Fear. Has to take a little bit of cover. Yangon Galacticos still have their duo from the distance, but that's going to slow Team Secret down.
That's right.
It's actually going to push them away from this spot as well.
Well, in all honesty, it helps Team Secret because those shots that were coming out from Order, I believe, was going to melt that buggy if it wasn't for Yangon Galacticos keeping that player down from Team Order. So Team Secret forced to park the bus once again, and, well, they're in a little bit of a tricky spot, aren't they? They've got No Fear gunning them down. Yangon Galacticos also looking down into the ravine. Team Secret, I don't think they make it out.
Back on the southeast side, it looks like E-Arena going to get pushed, going to get taken low, and they may have got some nades on in, and Scarface actually getting flushed. So, another point added at least for E-Arena. Fireflux in pretty dire straits. E-Arena may be winning this hold on the southeast side as Fireflux are eliminated. But with only one more player left standing, it is Mormon, but E-Arena can hold their heads high for the time being.
Yeah, and it's Order who's still from Weibo Gaming who's going to be hanging out on the outskirts, and I do wonder if he's going to get the final finish onto the solo Mormon. Sook starts to move in, so Mormon, he's going to be in a 1v2. Meanwhile, once again, Team Secret surprisingly and miraculously able to recover. I surely thought they were going to be finished off, but they're not. They managed to stand up, but they're still in dire straits in a very, very difficult spot between Hora and Yangon Galacticos. Once again, for Team Secret, I just don't know how they're going to get out of this situation.
No
Thunder Talk did not engage on Zahora in that scenario. On the north side, Thunder Talk instead opting to push a little bit further south, potentially towards Alva, the solo for Alter Ego. But instead, they've just allowed Aura to move on up towards Yangon Galacticos and take a free aggression push for them. This Team Secret try and play
Nice shots
on the other side of it. Caught in the middle. Smile goes down first, though, on the far side of this engagement.
Yeah, well done from Jiggle. Catches the head and takes him out through the window. You mentioned Thunder Talk not choosing to crash in. Well, they do so, and Hora reads it out, and you're going to have two players, Sky and No Fear, who's going to try and hold Thunder Talk at bay. AJ down to a sliver of health, but managed to recover quite nicely. The only concern I have for Hora is they are split up 2-2. One focused on Team Secret as well as Yangon Galacticos. The other purely focused on Thunder Talk. And Thunder Talk is going to manage to take down No Fear. Sleepy is going to get taken out by Team Secret. And an aggressive push from Drang, who takes down the Shed players. And all of a sudden, the tides will turn. And Hora, in dire straits, is only one more player is alive.
Having a real tough time of it. They need to commit to this res. Thunder Talk have put pressure onto the east side beautifully. Like you mentioned, they rolled up nice and quickly. They finally took that opportunity to go on in. Sky launching those nade forwards. And actually, a lot of Thunder Talk are close by to one another. As APG finding Falcons as well in the middle, on the east side rather. The Falcons will fall. They will be eliminated down in 12th place there. 11 of our teams remain. Yangon Galacticos, they've just been holding on that western side. They've been very, very chill, very relaxed on these engagements. They haven't managed to chime in. They got one elim, and they are forcing other teams to fight off against one another, allowing them to do the dirty work for them. But now they're going to have to turn their attention to Red Haya, who are on a split.
No Fear, can he stand up? He's on fire, and he will eventually be dropped, and Hora is gone. I got a question. If they don't go for the 2-2 split, do they survive? If they're not focused on three teams simultaneously, would they have better luck? Well, we'll never know, unfortunately. For Yangon Galacticos finally pushing into the aggressive Ragnum Karia, who are getting taken down, running on fumes. Two players down and out. Ragnum Karia most likely going to be finished off in this moment. Only one player remains, and I don't see him currently. Actually, it's going to be Wild way off in the distance, so he's going to be a solo for the remainder of this game.
Yangon Galacticos can keep up pace now. They have 2 elims on scorecard, and they will be 4 players alive after this res. Bloxy will be flushed fairly soon, so a couple more points to be added to their tally in just a moment. Close by to DRX's duo. Up on the north side of this one, on the south edge, it's still Power. With 4 players alive, they're going to try and navigate their way on in around Weibo, who also have 4 players alive, but sending the buggy to the air, don't need that anymore, throws it aside, and instead they're going to take to the grab a soul of the boot and see if they can take the shots over towards Weibo.
You go back to the last game, Ragnar was trying to get these crazy off angles. He ends up getting punished this time around, not making that same mistake. He sticks with the full force unit of Power. Great shots from Easy, but better shots from Order from a distance.
able to shut down that hilltop, and this is go signal. They're going to crash straight on into this. Nice and aggressive, decisive play from Weibo. They're trying to encircle now the rest of Power. They know their backline's going to be fumbling, going to be faltering a little bit. We'll see if they can take control of it. 33Z maybe a little bit overinvested here as Weibo trying to connect onto Power. Will finally be able to find that second knock, and they can continue to run this one through. Sook is down, but this should be resible. Fadan doesn't have the pace on this.
Fadan, he throws, bounces off the wall, manages to get away without burning himself. Fadin pushing up onto he. Now he needs to get here quickly. If he can get the finish before the res is in, it's going to be a 1v1, but the res will come through. You'd have to assume very quickly. He refuses to commit, playing it safe, but maybe playing it a bit too safe, and now Weibo able to recover.
Teams are starting to drop like flies. We're down to 8 now, and I'm sure there's a couple more ready and waiting to go. A lot of solos still playing on into this one. Weibo playing 2v1 on the inside. Fadan is the last player to stand here for Power Esports. They've got one Elim. And again, they are guaranteed a placement here with 8 teams remaining. But we'll see how much further they can go. The pump action, not going to be good enough. The DVS wins the day, and Weibo can stay up as 4 players.
There's value in playing passive, and what Fadin did wasn't necessarily wrong. However, you know you're last alive. Fully commit. There's it down in front of you. It's a 1v1. Swinging that choke point, swinging that angle is tough. I understand, but you just got to go for it. And if he would have, of course, he doesn't have X-ray vision, but if he would have, he most likely would have got the cleanup and been successful in that fight. And I can even say the same thing going to Nox from Red Force side of things with Benny. A little bit earlier in the day, there was a moment where I felt he needed to get aggressive, but he was just too undecisive. And because of that undecisiveness, he gets taken down. So there is power in being aggressive and full sending it, but he made the play that he made. Again, it wasn't necessarily wrong, but if he would have been aggressive, he most likely would have been able to win that fight and potentially even get the last remaining member up.
Alva could really go some distance in this match. With APG putting pressure over towards DRX, the last remaining player for Alter Ego could sneak through the cracks potentially. Could be a bit of a wild card on that east side flank. Weibo playing as 4, they're all the way on the other side on the southwest. Yango Galacticos, they're behind APG's engagement on the north side. So not really too many massive threats on the east edge. Alva actually gonna get a supply crate looted up as well as Order. Ooh, no, spotted. Weibo losing an off angle there, and very, very isolated from the rest of the roster. Gets caught unawares.
Still not a bad spot, though, for Weibo. Keeping Yangon Galacticus in check. APG, great spot overlooking DRX and Team Secret, which, let's highlight them, right? Team Secret, even though they only have a solo last alive, they did such a great job dismantling Horda a little bit earlier, 4 eliminations going their way. And the solo of Trang staying up is just huge, in my opinion. They should not be alive in this moment. They should not be fighting for a potential top 3 finish. But APG forced to go forward, and now DRX, who were being hunted down from APG, now could potentially gatekeep them. If they play this right, they could win this fight, but it's not going to be easy because they don't have the man advantage.
Hyunbin take a very, very low with a nade, cooked nicely. Has to get the knock, but they'll know there's a player on the inside there now. An APG with 4 players are wary of their south edge, but I don't imagine they expect Alva to be on this loot crate right now. Just trying to stay alive for Alter Ego. APG very reluctant actually to push all the way through this one.
It's tough. It's tough for DRX. I mean, because you know DRX is right in front, and they've got a great spot. Alva, I wonder if he gets a bit mixy. He's stayed alive for the longest time, and he's going to be able to take a peek over at Doc if he chooses to fire. But I think for him, he just wants to keep his head low and just go for top 3 if he possibly can. Aaron from Ida is going to be fully finished off. That'll be Ida out in 6th place. We're now down to our top 5. Things are starting to get spicy. APG on the move. DRX need to be ready.
Hyunbin first to face. Finally, Alva is dispatched, and that's going to open up the flank there. With top going down, looks like they want to commit for this res. Potentially very, very dangerous out in the open. I don't think you want to make this one work. So easy now with the SKS on the red dot. Okay, a little bit lackluster on the weaponry there, potentially, for So Easy. Only has his teammate Hyunbin there. Crawling away. They could look for this res, but I think Yango Galacticos aren't going to allow that one to happen.
Soez can truly help Yangon Galacticos in this moment, who are starting to come in. They're starting to close the vice grip, and if SOAS can take any members from APG down, that's only going to help the win for the side of Yangon Galacticos. SOAS will not be successful. Doc will win the fight, and it will be APG with a 4-man unit against the 4-man unit of Yangon Galacticos. Meanwhile, for Weibo, most likely getting finished off very, very shortly.
Ooh.
You got one player who's going to be down. Yangon Galacticos going full send to victory.
They want this top spot to close out day one. 2 players fall at their feet. A smile just about threading the bullets either side of him. Major to dodge them, and Seoul goes down next. A spray down over towards Doc, and that is going to be it. It's curtains for Alpha Gaming. 3rd place in a pretty brutal fashion on the northeast side now. 2 players, sorry, just 1 player from Weibo to stand in the way of Yangon Galacticos. They will be up and over 60 points on the match. A beautiful result for them. Their day has been stellar. DRX as well, up and towards that podium again. Some really consistent performances at the top. They are going blow for blow.
Without a doubt, 4 out of their 6 games, they get top 3. A huge performance from DRX, who managed to take over 1st place, but only for a sliver of time. Yangon Galacticos most likely taking it over with that tremendous win. And, well, Yangon Galacticos, mind you, managed to get 1st place 2 times throughout our 6 games. Of course, game number 6 as well as game 2. We've been waiting for Yangon Galacticos to step it up, to finally wake up. I think they finally have.
This is brilliant stuff from Yangon Galacticos. They looked cool, calm, collected. Drop at the shoulder, drop at the elbow, sinking the fist into the rib cage. It is nasty to come up against these guys in an all-out brawl, and they are happy to take those swings. A really solid flush over those hillsides. They come through late. They're waiting. They let everyone else sort out who will be the ones to take them on, and then they'll sweep them aside either way.
And you know what? They had a chance potentially to dismantle themselves if they do challenge into Team Secret, who ended up staying alive, and that could have got dicey because it was Team Secret as well as 2 other rosters who were fighting within that area. But Yangon Galactica said, let's play this slow. Let's go for the placement points and get the eliminations when it makes sense. Well, there it is, man. Game number 6 is done. Time to break down today's studio. What ended up happening?
Well, Yangon, who came in as 8th seed from survival stage, have now been able to put themselves at number 1 in the grand finals for day number 1. They pulled the John Cena heel turn on everyone and taken that top spot. Unbelievable stuff coming in from them. Joining me, we have Maxman as well as Matura to talk about this one. It's Miramar Yangon domination here, Mr. Max.
There were there were so many weird fights happening up north. You had I think you had Team Secret fighting Thunder Talk, fighting Horror. Yangon just seen it from a distance. What the hell is that? We're just going to leapfrog it, hold them off, get a ton of eliminations, get an easy access into the last circle, and get the win. If I'm not mistaken, their 2nd win today, right? They got another win on Potato Hill. So Yangon on fire, and this is a team that qualified barely through their survival stage here, making it into the finals. So we
were able to, again, do what they need.
तिमी आउँछौ कि
कति चोटी गरे तिमी अनलाइन थियो तिम्रो फोनलाई रिङ कति चोटी गरे तिमी अनलाइन थियो तिम्रो फोनलाई रिङ तिमीले उठाएन फोन मार्ने भए मारिदेऊ एकैचोटि नगरोस् बुझिरहेको छु तिमीलाई मसँग पर मेरो फोन उठाउ जान मेरो कुराहरू सुन आफ्नो कुराहरू खोल के त बोल कि त ब्लक गरिदेऊ मलाई डोन्ट यु लिभ मी fucking hanging जेसुकै बनोस् दुनिया चाहे जेसुकै जानु दिन्न तिमीलाई यसरी कहाँतिर जाने हो बन कहाँसम्म जाने हो तिमी डाँडामा जाने हो म तिम्रो मुटुमा जाने हो अहिलेसम्म केही खास छैन बिग्रेको तिमीले मलाई राम्ररी चिनेको छौ त्यही भएर trust me yo एकचोटि trust me yo ढाका टोपी मैलो धुले बहिनी पहिला गए के रमाइलो छ र मैलो भए धोइदिउँला सम्झी रोइदिउँला सम्झी रोइदिउँला ढाका टोपी मैलो धुनेवाला पहिला गए के रमाइलो छ र ढाका टोपी मैलो धुने बहिनी पहिला गए के रमाइलो छ र मैलो भए धोइदिउँला सम्झी रोइदिउँला सम्झी रोइदिउँला कति चोटी गरे तिमी अनलाइन थियो तिम्रो फोनलाई रिङ तिमीले उठाएन फोन मार्ने भए मारिदेऊ एकैचोटि नगरोस् नगर त्यस्तो तिमी बिना लाइफ मेरो प्रेसर Please call me back Solve anything सबै issue Yeah I miss you Son I got a bicycle distance I'm looking at my phone screen God I'm so impatient Oh my God I'm so impatient Just cause I want